If you've shot a film and now you realize the audio sounds terrible, then this video is for you. Having good audio is crucial because even if your image looks amazing, bad audio will instantly make your film feel amateurish. In the words of Gareth Edwards, you forgive a bad image if you can clearly hear the sound well, but you don't forgive a great image if the sound is terrible. Now here's the good news. I'm gonna show you how you can rebuild your audio to a pro cinematic level using just your iPhone and free software. This will work whether you've already filmed something with bad sound or even if you're just looking for a DIY way of getting pro audio on a budget. So now let's dive in. Take a look at this scene that I shot outside using absolutely no audio equipment. Hey Mom. Yes, no, I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it today, okay?
Well, what do you want from me? I told you I was super busy.
Yes, I know, I promise I'll make it up to you.
Yes, I'll come tomorrow.
Sounds pretty bad, right? Well, now we're gonna take all of that garbage audio and transform it and make it cinema ready. And here's how. As far as equipment goes, you'll need an iPhone or any other smartphone that has recording capabilities, a laptop, headphones, free audio software called Audacity, and a free sound library called freesound.org. Step one is taking stock. That's where we go through each scene of the film and identify all of the sounds we hear in that scene. So we're gonna list them out in 3 categories. The first category is dialogue. So we're going to transcribe each line of dialogue exactly as it is said in the scene. Then we're gonna list out all of the on-screen sounds. So things like footsteps, keys, clothing ruffling. We're gonna list all of that. Then we're gonna list out all of the ambient sounds. These are sounds of the environment that we hear. So in my case, it is sounds of the exterior, the wind, bird, trees. We list all of that in here. The second step is going to be re-recording the dialogue in a process also known as ADR, or automated dialogue replacement. Now there are a few best practices to make sure that you get the best quality audio with your iPhone. The first one is make sure you record in a quiet environment. Closets are usually great for this. Because of all the clothes in there, they tend to block out sounds from the exterior. Then you'll want to have your actors re-recording their lines as they're watching their scene. That way they can match their performance and timing as closely as possible. Hey Mom. You also want to make sure that your actors are wearing headphones to prevent any audio bleed from the bad audio to the new recording. This next best practice is very easy to overlook, but it is crucial, and that is record only one audio file for each actor. What I mean by that is whenever the actor goes to do their lines, hit record once, have them go through all of their lines, and then once they're done, stop the recording. It doesn't matter if your recording is 10 minutes long, 20 minutes long, don't break it up into multiple audio files because this will save you a ton of time in the editing later. You also want your actors to record each line one at a time. It can be very hard for the actors to match the emotion and timing of their performance, so don't overwhelm them by having them go through the whole scene at once. Focus on each line, get each line right, ideally get 5 good takes for each line, and then move on to the next line.
Well, what do you want from me? I told you I was super busy. Well, what do you want from me? I told you I was super busy.
But again, all in one audio file. Don't stop the recording after each line, but have them go line by line. The final best practice is leave 10 seconds of silence at the beginning of your audio file. So once you hit record, have 10 seconds of silence and then have the actors go into their lines. This is going to be necessary for the next step. And also a pro tip, if you can't get all of your actors to meet in person, just send them the instructions and have them record from their own home at their own pace. Step 3 is we're gonna re-record all of the on-screen sounds in a process also known as foley. We're gonna re-record all of those sounds using our iPhone. And ideally, we're gonna do so in a quiet environment. So in my case, my scene takes place outside. I'm going to, however, try to re-record those sounds inside the house because it's gonna be a lot stronger audio quality. unlike the ADR, we're gonna wanna record each sound separately. So each sound gets its own audio file. This will be a lot cleaner for organization, but similar to ADR, capture 10 seconds of silence before you capture the sound. Now, if there's any sound that you just cannot recreate inside, then you can always download some Foley from copyright-free online libraries. And if you're looking for a free version, freesound.org is very recommended. Okay, so now we are at step 4, which is cleaning the audio. So we're gonna go through all of our audio files, the ADR and the Foley, and make sure that we remove any unwanted background noise. And to do that, we're gonna use a free software called Audacity. So to download Audacity, just go to Audacity Download, and it'll be the first link over here. Download in whichever system works for you. Then once you have it downloaded and opened up, you're gonna import your audio file and you're gonna get something that looks like this. Here is our ADR audio file. These are all of my lines of ADR dialogue.
No, I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it today, okay?
Sounds pretty clean. But if you notice over here in this silence, if I play it, it's quite faint, but there's a little bit of a background hiss, and we're gonna wanna remove that now. So to do that, we highlight this 10 seconds of silence that I had us capture. That's why it's always important to get that silence when you're recording. Then we're going to tell Audacity that this is the sound that we want to remove. So you go up to Effect, Noise Removal and Repair, Noise Reduction. And then in step 1, you're gonna click Get Noise Profile. So we've just told Audacity, let's remove this background hiss here. Then we can click out and double click everything, and we're going to apply the reduction to the entire track. So Effect, Noise Removal and Repair, Noise Reduction, and we come down over here to step 2. So you have these 3 different levers. We have noise reduction, sensitivity, and frequency smoothing. So usually noise reduction, we're gonna focus over here right now. Here we're gonna tell Audacity how much of that background hiss do we wanna remove? How strong do we want the removal to be? And be wary that the stronger you go, you start to deteriorate the quality of the voice, and you don't wanna do that. So you wanna remove just enough to where you get rid of the background hiss, but not so much as to start affecting the voice. So for me, it's gonna be pretty low. And then for now, we can just keep the rest as is. And now let's take a listen.
Hey, Mom. Yes, I know. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it today, okay?
There we go. So now we've applied that noise reduction to the entire file. And again, remember when I said we don't want multiple audio files for the ADR? This is why. Because if you did, you'd have to repeat this process over and over again. So just keep it in one file. You only have to do it one time, and you get all of your lines cleanly. And then we're gonna apply the same process to all the Foley files. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. All right, so now we can move on to the next step, which is replacing the audio in the edit. So now we're gonna go through our ADR and Foley files, and we're going to add them in where they belong. So we're gonna start with the ADR. I'm gonna take my cleaned up ADR track, and I'm gonna start listening to the original audio and finding the performance that matches it as closely as possible. Now, beware that you might not find a performance that's an exact one-to-one, and that's okay. Oftentimes what you're able to do is grab bits and pieces from different performances and cutting them together to make them work. For example, for my second line here, I had to combine 3 takes to make one semi-accurate performance.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it today, okay?
So I'm pretty happy with the ADR as it is right now. So now we can go in and we can start adding all the Foley. So for the Foley, we're gonna grab all of our recorded Foley tracks and start placing them in. If at any point there's a Foley sound that you recorded that you're just not happy with, it doesn't sound good or it doesn't match up very nicely with the on-screen action, then I would always recommend going to freesound.org just to see if you can find a version of that sound over there. Next, we're gonna move on to the background noise. I would honestly always recommend for background noise, just go to freesound.org and find some kind of an ambient track, some kind of a background track that feels like the environment that your scene is taking place in. Because if you look at our background noise list, I have things like trees, dog barking, wind. I don't need to recreate those exactly one for one. I can just find some kind of a quiet street ambient sound and put that under, and it'll sound the way it's supposed to sound. You don't need to match your original audio exactly. You can just get something that approximates it and something that gets close and that feels believable as the texture of that scene. So in my case, I went to freesound.org and I downloaded a track for a suburban street, and I also downloaded a track for like autumn wind. And so I layered both of those together. And so now I have this background texture that sounds like a quiet street with a little bit of wind. And that's kind of what I wanted. So take a look at how just the background noise sounds. So now that I've recreated all of the sounds that I kind of had in the original video, I also want to add a little bit of music to this just to score the scene. To me, this feels kind of like a sitcom scene. I don't know if that's just because I love sitcoms, but when I was watching this, it kind of gave me that vibe a little bit. So I'm gonna find some sitcom-y comedy music to underscore the scene. So I'm going to Epidemic Sound for this. It is a great online music library. They also have sound effects. The disclaimer is it is a subscription-based website. So if you're not able to spend any money, this won't be applicable to you. So in that case, you can consider not having music for your scene, or you can also find copyright-free music online on YouTube. Type in things like copyright-free music on YouTube, and you can find things that you are allowed and able to use for free. But for my case, I already have a subscription to Epidemic Sound, so I'm gonna go ahead and download a track from that. So now we've put everything together, and now we can move on to the final step, which is the final mix. Whenever you're mixing a scene, there is a certain hierarchy of priorities that you want to follow. So first, you want to make sure that the dialogue is heard above everything else. None of the sounds can overpower the dialogue, unless of course that is a very intentional stylistic choice. Then you want the foley to be heard next. Certainly nowhere near as loud as the dialogue, but they are the next sounds to be prioritized. Then you want to have the ambient sound or the background sounds. And then under that is the music. Sometimes people will have the music above the background noise. I mean, that depends on the scene, and it is kind of a subjective thing. But for most scenes, I at least tend to err on the side of having the music be subtle and played underneath all those other tracks. Certain scenes will call for different mixing priorities, but I would say whenever in doubt, follow this protocol and you will be good to go. Now it's time to listen to everything put together. So here is a scene that we did with the new audio all mixed and ready to go, and see how different it is from where we started.
Hey, Mom. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I wasn't able to make it today, okay? Well, what do you want from me? I told you I was super busy. Yes, I know. I promise I'll make it up to you. Yes, I'll come tomorrow.
There we have it. So that is how you take crappy audio and you fix it the right way in post. You never want to rely on software to fix bad audio. Even with the best AI plugins in the world that we do have today, it's never going to make your bad audio sound good. So if you're in a situation where you don't have audio that you're happy with, this is the route to rescue it for essentially no cost. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you want more editing insights and filmmaking tips like these, please be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment. What was helpful to you? Is there anything that was unclear? Please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I'll absolutely get back to you. And in the meantime, I'm Max, professional video editor. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.